Welcome, and welcome to any of you joining us for the first time or returning after a little while. It's very lovely to see you all, those of you here in the church, and also all of you joining us online this morning. So welcome to this first March Sunday. You're welcome however you find yourself today, whether you come in joy or in sadness, whether you're feeling peaceful or anxious, however you are, and wherever you are indeed, if you're online, you're welcome. We join here in this sacred space to create sacred time together. And I'd like to share some words by Tanya Marquez with you. It is a wonder and mystery that our paths have crossed. That in the immensity of time, in the vastness of space, we coincide here. Let us be in awe at the ways in which our lives intersect and intertwine, at the beauty we create together. May our coming together make us more compassionate, more just, more caring, more loving. And may our hearts and minds be open to this offering. Let us worship. Let us marvel at the miracle of being here right now and the mystery that has brought us together. And so, as is our custom, I shall begin by lighting our chalice candle, which is the symbol of our free religious faith. Our candle joins with those lit by Unitarians all over the country and around the world, and with our friends online. So we join a community the moment we light the candle. This morning, may this flame invite us into magic, to miracle, to mystery. May it gently hold us here as a focus for our precious hour together, in the warmth and in the light of the Divine Spirit. So this month we will mark, of course, the beginning of spring, and we will take part in Earth Hour, and then at the end of the month we will celebrate Easter. But today, this being the start of March, I thought of the March hare, and I thought of it as being one of the animals frequently associated with the earth, with the moon, with spring and Easter too. And with mystery. So this service is about the hare and its various connections with the Spirit. Our first hymn is about the web of life, which I think chimes in with the theme of the service, about seeing divinity in everything and everywhere, and the connections and the cycles that we all live in. So we're going to sing number 189. It's in the purple hymn books, and it's called We Celebrate the Web of Life. So let's join in singing hymn number 189.
Every living thing.
join in a time of prayer, and I'm going to begin with a prayer by Adam Slate, who's a Unitarian minister. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of hope, Spirit of justice, God known by many different names, you have given us a day unique from any other. You have connected us, all of us, with each other and with the world, in ways that are largely a mystery to us. You have given us little instruction other than to be present in our own lives, to feel wonder at the creations of the universe, and to love one another. You have put gifts and challenges in our paths, joys and sorrows, strengths and frailties, some of which we have already encountered, and others we have yet to discover. On this unique day, may we receive exactly what it is that we need. Blessed be. And into the silence now, you might like to just bring into your mind's eye anyone known to you who may be suffering at this time. You might include our friend Thelma, who's currently in hospital, and our friend Suzanne, who hasn't been well, and anyone else. We ask that they may be bathed in light and in love, and find comfort and peace and well-being. And may we open our hearts more widely and fully still to all those souls unknown to us, wherever they may be in the world. However they may be suffering. We may want to include the people of Gaza at this time, children anywhere in the world who are in pain, confusion, sadness. And we might like to envisage our precious planet also bathed in light and love. And we pray that all living souls, human and all creatures, may find peace and well-being. Amen. So we're coming now to time for a story. I'm just wondering if somebody might like to close the outside door. Thank you, David. This story is about Saint Melangel. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the name, to be perfectly honest. It might be Melangel. Anyone able to advise me? In that case, it doesn't matter. And St Melangel and the Hare. And it's a story from Irish folklore. King Jauchal of Ireland. By the way, I don't know how to pronounce that either, but you probably guessed that. King Jauchal of Ireland had decided that his daughter, Melangel, should marry a nobleman of the court. It was a match that would bring her wealth and security. But Melangel cared little for worldly possessions, and she pleaded with her father to let her just live a simple religious life. But her father was outraged by this and refused. So she decided to leave her home and leave her family. And she took refuge in the Welsh Pennant Valley, which was a sacred place in the Bronze Age. And there she lived a solitary life, eating nuts and berries and sheltering in a cave with only small creatures for companions. One day, Brockwell, the Prince of Powys, was out hunting. He startled a hare, and with his howling hounds, gave chase after it. They came to a thicket of brambles and thorns, and Brockwell was astonished to see Melangel kneeling, deep in prayer, with the hare calmly facing the hounds from beneath the hem of her cloak. The hounds were terrified, and they retreated, cowering in awe, refusing to attack the hare. When the prince asked Melangel how she came to be there, she replied that she had lived alone in this place since leaving her home 15 years ago. Moved by her courage and compassion, he gave her enough land to create a sanctuary for others seeking peace and solitude. And she agreed on condition that the land should be a refuge not only for people, but also for those creatures who, like herself, had no choice but to flee when threatened. And so Melangel became the abbess of a small religious community and passed the rest of her days in this place. Many were the miracles she performed for those who sought shelter. Later, in 1160, a Christian church was built on the site, which is surrounded by ancient yew trees. And the church still holds her relics and still flourishes as a centre for healing and counsel. The story of Melangel and the hare. Excuse me. And now a short poem. Caroline is going to read this for us. It's by William Wordsworth. All things that love the sun.
All things that love the sun. All things that love the sun are out of doors. The sky rejoices in the morning's birth. The grass is bright with raindrops. On the moors the hare is running races in her mirth. And with her feet she from the plashy earth raises a mist that's glittering in the sun, runs with her all the way wherever she doth run.
Thank you, Caroline. I love the idea of the plashy earth. Our second hymn is one you know well. It's number 148 in the Purple Hymn Book, Spirit of Life. And as always, we sing it twice because it's so good and short. So let's join together in singing 148, Spirit of Life.
Sing in my heart.
now to a time of quiet reflection. Let's have some music. So I called this address The Spirit of the March Hare, made famous, of course, in Alice in Wonderland. My friend Alistair, I think he's obsessed with hares. He has pictures of them, he has little sculptures, models of them, he has hare-themed things all over the house. His house is becoming like a shrine to hares. So I asked him what it was he loved about them, and he said he thought it was partly to do with their rarity. So a sighting is a special thing. And their seasonality, because when you see them, it's often time for spring. And he says he finds them beautiful. I find them beautiful, but in a robust way. Their speed and strength is alluring. So that was interesting for me too. I've never really asked him before. But certainly hares were one of the animals that had spiritual significance for the Celts of the British Isles, and they turn up in other spiritual traditions too. But first, just a little bit of background. I'm sure you all know what a hare is, but just to ground us in a little bit of information. They're related to rabbits, but a separate species from rabbits. They're usually larger. They have longer ears. They have often black markings on their fur. And there are 3 types in the British Isles and Ireland: the Irish hare, the common or brown hare, and the mountain or blue hare. They're usually herbivorous, i.e. they don't eat meat, and they're fast runners. Even if they don't always win the race, as we know from the fable. They usually live alone or in pairs, and unlike rabbits, they don't bear their young below ground. They make little sort of nests of grass or a shallow depression in the ground. It's known as a form. A young hare is called a leveret, and I was surprised to read that the Irish hare, it's native to Ireland, and carbon dating of fossils have shown they were present as far back as 28,000 BC, which is quite a way back. Though I think in Britain they more associated with the time of the Romans. They came over then. So that's just a little bit of background. But of course, in Irish folklore, hares are also associated with the other world, which was thought to be reached through mists and hills, lakes, ponds, wetland areas, but also through caves and ancient burial sites, cairns and mounds. So I think in the poem we heard of the hare through the plashy ground, but raising mist and the mist travelling with them. It's that kind of otherworldliness. And all of those places that they were associated with were seen to be very powerful. So there was a sense that if you shouldn't harm a hare because something bad might happen if you did. They were also associated with shape-shifting, that idea of one being changing into the form of another. So there's a legend, for example, in which the Celtic warrior Oisin hunted a hare and wounded it in its leg. When he followed the wounded animal into a thicket, he found a door leading down into the ground. And when he went in, he came to this large hall where he found not a hare, but a beautiful young woman sitting on a throne, bleeding from a wound in her leg. Woohoo! So hares often are portrayed as having this sort of connection with women, particularly women who may have been called witches in those days, or we might say seers, women who had a sort of prophesying or special gifts. Now, you probably know that Easter gets its name from the goddess of spring and the dawn, the name Istra, or Ostara, she's sometimes known as. And some descriptions of Istra show her with a hare as a head. She's hare-headed sometimes, and thought to be the goddess of rabbits and birds too. But always strongly associated with the hare, and I think that's how the Easter bunny has come to be a thing. The hare is also, of course, a symbol of fertility and linked to the spring season, which is its rutting or mating season too. I've never seen hares boxing. Have you? It is it's what I read was that it's the females who box the males when they're pestering them. So I thought it was no, I won't say it's a good idea. Obviously, we don't approve of violence, but still. So they also get very sort of energetic at this time, and so they can run for miles and even become aggressive and appear quite, mad. Hence the term, the mad March hare. And also, of course, the hare's associated with the moon. We often see pictures of the hare with the moon, and partly because it's a mostly nocturnal animal, I think. But also the moon is also associated with the other world and with the feminine too. So I think there's a kind of link going on there. Now, I don't know if you paid much attention to the image that I was showing on the screen at the beginning of the service. If you did, you will remember that it was 3 hares in a circle. And they seem to be sort of running around in a circle. And each hare looks as though it's got 2 ears, but there's only 3 ears actually in the image. So, Steve, could you just show yeah, you won't mess it up. I trust you. Thank you, Steve. So, yes, as I say, that image was from Egypt, but you can see, you find this image in lots of different places, including in Buddhist caves, apparently, in China, along the Silk Road, the trading route, but also in Devon. I don't know if you've seen them, and I haven't, so I'm going to go and look for them. It's gone on my list of things to do, but this symbol of the three hares is found in quite a number of churches on Dartmoor. Particularly, Viv has seen them. Excellent. Where, Viv? Coteal. Really? Excellent. Brilliant. Southfield, good. Yeah, some of you have seen them. They're known in Devon, they're known as tinners' rabbits. Yeah, although it's not clear that there's really much connection with the tin mining. But anyway, nobody really knows what they mean. I like the design for all sorts of reasons. I mean, it's an attractive design, but it seems, and nobody really knows what it means. So it's kind of open to interpretation. But it's almost like a puzzle when you look at it. You're trying to see where one hare begins and the other hare ends. So the hare is sometimes portrayed as a trickster, and I think it has a bit of that sense in it too. They're often found in ornate metallic carvings or on glass or ceramic in the East or Middle East. But in Devon, I think I'm right in saying that they're usually roof bosses on church ceilings made of either wood or plaster. Cowstock. They make them. Excellent. Excellent. I found it really fascinating. What do they mean? Are they meant to drive away evil influences? I mean, bosses on churches often do have that kind of, or we think that's what they mean, or they bring good fortune. It's been suggested that in the Christian context they might represent the Trinity, because there's three of them. Don't know. And I imagine that we might interpret them as part of we're showing the cycles of the seasons and this sort of wheel of life and the interconnectedness of life. So they feel like that they can be a nice symbol for Unitarians as well. So to me, it's not surprising in a way that the hare's been given this spiritual significance over the ages and around the world, as it seems to encapsulate some of the characteristics that we might associate with spiritual life and our own encounters with it. They're, as we've said, they're very fleet of foot, and they have this sort of grace as well as speed, and they're shy. They only come out at dusk, and you might see them at dusk and dawn. You're more likely to see them at other times, and usually solitary and, relatively speaking, rare. I mean, there's far fewer of them now than there used to be, of course. And so I only see them occasionally. I've not seen hares very many times in my life. So it feels like there is something like a gift when you see them. And they're elusive. You have to actually look, pay attention to see them, like you might have to want to pay attention to notice the divine in anything, anywhere. And they seem to inhabit that twilight, liminal world, a sense of being beyond time and mystery. And they also have that sort of unpredictableness, because although they are usually quite shy and calm, they have these mad, sort of harebrained, literally harebrained. Is that where that comes from? I don't know. I just thought of that. Which makes them also, a little bit capricious, and you don't quite know what's coming next. So for me, they symbolise something glimpsed at a slant, perhaps, something. It's in reality, it's also in myth, but it somehow hints at another dimension. So I can see why they have caught the imagination of people. There's a story from the Buddhist tradition of Jataka tales. The Jataka tales, I think I'm right in saying, are tales about the different incarnations of the Buddha. And this one is one called The Hare on the Moon. So I'll just share that with you. In this story, the Bodhisattva, I'm aware we have people from the Buddhist tradition here, so I hope I don't you can correct me if I get this wrong. The bodhisattva that takes the form of a hare who has 3 friends, a monkey, an otter, and a jackal. And the hare persuades his friends that they should all practice generosity and offer food to beggars on the next full moon day, and the full moon is an auspicious day. And the animals agree to this. And when the day comes, the monkey and jackal collect food. They collect mangoes and meat that they find. And the otter finds some fish, which he takes. But the hare realizes that all he has got to offer is grass. And he knows that actually humans don't really eat grass. There's not much use to them. So he decides instead that he will sacrifice himself to be the food. So Saka, who is Lord of Heavenly Beings, hears about this and decides to test the hare. So he takes the form, there's a lot of shape-shifting going on here, he takes the form of a beggar, walking through the woods, and when he reaches the hare, he asks the hare for food. And at that moment the hare notices there's some sticks burning, little fire, and he throws himself onto the fire as an offering of food. However, he does not get burnt. Amazingly, he's completely unhurt and is naturally very surprised by this turn of events, this miracle. But at that moment, the Lord Saka reaches down and lifts the hare up into the heavenly realm and also places the hare's image onto the moon as a reminder of this example of generosity that the hare was prepared to make for others, and that might stay there for eternity as far as the moon and the earth are still here. So I think you know that if there's one way of looking at the moon is rather than seeing a man, you can see a hare. It's possible to see a hare in the full moon. You can try it if you can see the full moon next time. And just, I'm going to keep my eyes open for hares this month, see if I might spot them. I might see if I can get to one of these Dartmoor churches and look for the 3 hare boss. And maybe just practice a bit of a special generosity, particularly when the next full moon comes, which is the 25th of March. I'm looking at Sheila for confirmation. I gather it's called the worm moon. It's not quite as exciting sounding as the harvest moon, say. However, divinity in all things. So, the worm moon. Let's sing. I chose the last hymn partly because it made me think of this 3 hares in a kind of dance. It's called Let It Be a Dance We Do, and it's also about the cycles and the comings and the goings and the birth and death and reaping and harvesting and all that, I think, we celebrate. So let's sing, and it's got a jolly one to finish with too. Let's sing Let It Be a Dance We Do. Number 88.
Let a dancing song be heard.
never connected that hymn with hares before, but now I will forevermore. Going to share some closing words with you now. Firstly, from Marjorie Newlyn Leeming, who I think is a Unitarian. Remembering that the universe is so much larger than our ability to comprehend, let us go forth from this time together with a resolve not to try to reduce the incomprehensible to our own limited expectations, so that wonder, that sense of what is sacred, can find space to open up our minds and illumine our lives. And some words from the Sufi Persian mystic Hafiz. Where is the door to God? In the sound of a barking dog, in the ring of a hammer, in the drop of rain, in the face of everyone I see. May we find doors to the divine everywhere we look, and cultivate the imagination and the courage to go through them. May it be so. And before Steve starts off the closing, just to say a few words about the closing video too, which is called The White Hare. It's a song that might be very familiar to you. It's Seth Lakeman, who does write quite a lot, inspired by Dartmoor and the local area. And this is a kind of song. It's about a shape-shifting, really. It's there's the video you'll see. It shows a woman, but he's singing about a hare. So the idea is that the two are interchanging in that shape-shifting way. So it's called The White Hare. So that will be enough words from me for now, and I hope you enjoy the video, and Sheila will give us the notices afterwards. Blessed be.